Mirëmbrëma, sonte në pikë është Mihael Martens, njëri prej gazetarëve më të njohur evropian, gazetari i Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, njëri I cili ka përcjell Ballkanin nga shumë kënde të ndryshme, përfshirë edhe Stambollin. Së fundmi ka qenë në Kosovë, shfrytëzova rastin të ftoj. Mihael, welcome to the podcast.
And as we say in those cases, thank you for having me.
I want to start actually with Ivo Andrić. You wrote a wonderful biography of Ivo Andrić, very well researched, and of course a lot of investment in combining literature and history. And so I thought that one of the metaphors that we could start with is the one Andrić used, which said, among us, everything happens slowly, with difficulty, and contrary to our wishes. Now, like with any other sentence, you could use it in any combination, but I thought it was actually appropriate with Europe today. It happens slowly, the European Union growth. It happens with difficulty. And a lot of it happens contrary to our wishes, like today. We have Putin's war against Ukraine, and then we have President Trump saying, well, I won't actually pay for your security anymore, right?
True, and you picked a very Andrićesque quote. It's very much Andrić in there. That's him. Yeah, and you can actually use it for today, indeed, yeah.
And how does that play out, actually? How does that play out in now we have to move faster than the usual slowly?
Well, things that many of us, and I admit I belong to those many, believed in and believed would always be there are not there anymore. In the German case, it's generally true for all of Europe, but it becomes especially clear with Germany. We relied on several pillars, the Americans paying for our security. The money that we did not spend on security, we could invest in benevolent social programs, which we have in Germany. Secondly, while the US paid for our security, we were exporting our machineries and our cars to the US, to China, and the world. And thirdly, we were receiving relatively cheap gas. It wasn't that cheap, as they always say, and politically it was very expensive, actually, from Russia. And all those pillars are not there anymore. We have no American security guarantee anymore. We have no Russian gas anymore. And about our industry, well, let's see how the German car industry is doing in the future. It is the backbone of our economy, and we, at least for China, in the market for electrical cars, we will not dominate the market as we did before.
Are these historical givens? Are these irreversible things? President Trump has had his first 100 days. But he will go to elections. The U.S. will go to the elections at the end of his mandate,
and maybe he will go.
and maybe he will go. But in any case, democracy may actually resist some of these temptations of interfering or of takeover of state institutions. But is the rift between the U.S. and Europe irreversible?
The way I think I know you, I think you would agree with me when I say very rarely are there historical givens. Nothing that happens has to happen, and especially when you write about history, you shouldn't rely too much on the hindsight knowledge or hindsight bias, because that can actually trick you very much. And I would not say it's irreversible, and partly we have seen this already in the past couple of days. Democracy is one thing that, let's hope, will be much more resilient and stronger than we might think, even though we would, I think, have to see a stronger reaction also within the US. But there's something else, and this is the power of the markets. Look how Trump already backtracked on some of the customs duties that he introduced. He saw it has a problem. Look on how he reacted to the markets when the stock market went down. Millions of Americans, of course, Trump knows this, rely for their retirement on the stock markets, on whatever they have invested overall in their life. And when this went down, all of a sudden he backtracked. The same happened when China threatened to sell U.S. state bonds. Imagine when the U.S. would have serious trouble refinancing itself. So far, democracy is one, let's say, corrective action. But I would say also the power of the markets, I hope, could bring even someone like Trump down to some reasonable levels here and there.
But then we are presencing, I think, a historical shift, which did not start with Trump.
No.
The 21st century starts with the U.S. moving its attention towards the East, towards Asia,
Yes.
towards China.
Obama did it.
And Obama did it. And even before, I mean, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq shifted the security balance towards the East. So now we are in a situation in which the century will be moving history to the East and trying to create some sort of balance. So this will not change, right?
Not for the time being. And I think I remember, I watched your conversation with Florian Bieber. If I remember correct, you said there for you 9/11 was already the shifting point. Did you say that?
Yes.
Which is something interesting because I hadn't seen it that way. And yeah, there are arguments to put it this way. Yeah, of course. I mean, for who is the real geopolitical player from the U.S. perspective? It's not Russia. Russia is not even militarily, except of the nuclear armament, of course. As we can see, not even militarily. It's a power. We all, I think, have been re-quoting this quote by Donald Tusk, who said, allow me to use it again because it's really so accurate. I just changed the numbers a little bit because I don't think he got all of them right. When he said, how is it possible that 500 million Europeans ask 300 million Americans to protect them against 140 million Russians who cannot subdue 35 million Ukrainians? He used different numbers.
Yes,
but
it's a wonderful quote.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
But okay, so now we move to Ukraine because that's part of the equation. And Ukraine, as it seems, will be an unfinished conflict, right? In the best possible scenarios. So there will not be a winner of this war if you do discount the fact that Russia keeps Crimea.
And what it has